Hey squads, Brandon from the Bantu Sun. Thank you guys so much for joining. I wanted to hop in this story I came across about Chad nationalizing Exxon's assets in its country. So first I was surprised because Chad's a francophone country. Surprised this wasn't a French Total's Energies company or Italy's ENI. It's actually Exxon that was operating in Chad, which is an American company, which shows you the long reach of the way the world operates. How many people knew Exxon was doing big things in Chad? Well, not anymore. So Exxon had issues with Chad. Chad took it the wrong way, or Chad took it how they wanted to take it. And they said, you know what? Instead of playing around with you guys, we're just going to take your stuff. We just took your cookies. So reason why I wanted to talk about this is because nationalizing assets is a major, major no. And the reason why is because it screws you over in the long run. Because it's really not going to be too many people that want to deal with you. So when you nationalize a company, you're actually seizing the assets of a company. And maybe you think this is a good idea, but if you do, then you probably don't know much about economics because it's a supply and demand game. So what a lot of countries do, especially a lot of developing countries, is they'll take whatever the country does well, I don't know, diamonds, oil, lumber, etc. But they're developing and they don't have the technology or the expertise to probably get to a level of development on their own that would secure good profits or to do the explorations or the research and investment it takes to get the project off the ground. So the governments being they are, they're going to want their share of the money and they're going to want ownership and they'll outsource the actual tech side of things and operations and understanding to a more developed country. Hence, you get these partnerships. It'll be, let's say, an Exxon operation, but it'll be a government-owned oil field. And you'll have a situation like that. This was real big, and Saudi Arabia operated like this before their efforts to try to get Saudi Aramco public. So you have the government, they want their cut, and then you have the corporations coming in to assist. Now, I don't have an issue, as I say. Some countries are very successful in this model, and you'd be surprised what governments own and make money off of. But what I do want to go back into is this is the headline I'm seeing, right? Nationalization of oil fields, and this is just bad PR. And what could have been an alternative of different ways of thinking about things? This was a perfectly great opportunity to show for Chad to show the world how shrewd it could be. It could have reached out that region. So Chad's like in Central Africa, right on the Sahel. And parts of that region have already been identified as pretty good oil spots. So that inland region is landlocked and it's neighboring Sudan, which is going to be a great oil country. South Sudan is a great oil country. And Uganda, which I believe they found some oil in Uganda and in Central African Republic. So this whole region, this central east landlocked or land-bound region of Africa has already been proven to have oil in there. So two issues you have, right? The exploration, getting out an efficient manager, efficient management, getting out under efficient management, and the technology that's involved, and then getting it to the seeds to ship to the world. And I just thought it would have been a lot more shrewd and a lot more productive if Chad said, you know what, guys, we're all in this together. Went to those other three countries, Central African Republic, South Sudan, and Uganda. And of course, Chad was going to be a small player in the table. You'll base some agreement out based on share production. And they should be the small player on the table because they're a small player in Africa, they're a small player in the world at this stage of things. And so if they just would have took a win, an easy win where they could have got one, and probably networked with their neighbors and said, look, we're in this together, guys. Okay, we're all going to take our share, and we're going to have a company, a joint Central African country that's going to do business with these corporations. We're not going to go it alone anymore. We're going to tie our four countries together, and we're going to make opportunity out of this instead of a weakness. What they did was say, What they actually did was say, okay, we're Chad, we don't like the way you're doing things, we're taking your stuff, right? Taking our ball, we're going home. Which shuns them in the international community. Nope, nobody's really going to want to believe in them, because even if a country sympathizes with them, do you think that company is going to let their countries do business with Chad, which deprive Chad and its population of opportunities that could arise from development on their resources? And at minimum, it deprives them of easy cash. But if they would have went to their neighbors and say, look, we're doing business together and we're going to make companies compete with their offers to do our business, right? And we're going to take a split of the profit equally. But this takes a sense of maturity, takes a sense of humility, because what you're doing is making yourself part of the group. But the group is together stronger than they are individually. And if one of those companies, let's say Exxon, was trying to screw over all four of those countries, they will all pull out. That will hurt Exxon. That is how you keep major multinationals honest, is that you pull yourself as groups, figure out an arrangement that works for you, your people, and your neighbors, and then you go negotiate with these multinationals. Chad, with a population of around 17 mil, and they're one of those African countries that are going to explode demographically. I think they're going to double in population, be in the mid 30s by 2050. What Chad did is put bad headlines on about itself, and it's took over a oil company, and who knows how they're going to work it. Now the next company is going to come in with better negotiating leverage, because they can say, because you screwed over this last person, you did Exxon like that, we're going to make sure we charge you a premium, and you're going to have to pay it because you can't develop this yourself, and nobody else wants to come here. So that new company is going to come in with a stronger negotiating power. So this is just one of those opportunities when we talk about geopolitics, seeing how different countries operate, do things, and how they leverage themselves from a position of weakness to a more favorable position, through partnerships and deals, and most importantly, working together. Europe is a bunch of small countries, but they have sway because they work together. So just remember this. Next time you see one of these crazy nationalization stories, it's usually a no-no, and it's probably the worst decision out of all the options that government had. But that's my thoughts on things. I love to hear your comment. Please like, subscribe, and share. And thanks again, once again, for joining us. Take care. Bantu up.